On today's episode of Phinside The NFL, some somber news as Alexander Mattison, he is going to be out for the remainder of the season. I guess so much for that. Just some neck and head soreness, huh, Mike? Also, the Dolphins did end up working out some running backs and signing a running back. We'll talk about what that move was and the decision, because I think it's fair to question this one a little bit. Also, the PFF grades are out. We will go over that. And was the Athletic and the 50 NFL executives and coaches that they surveyed, well, were they justified or were they disrespectful with their ranking of Tua? We got a lot to talk about. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you are new. Let's get into this.
Loses the football. Touchdown! Got it! You have got to be kidding me. Jalen Waddle has a Dolphin touchdown. And he will score! Field down the near side, man open. Touchdown! The run from Tua Tagovailoa. Touchdown! He's going deep. It's going to be a touchdown again. Beautiful day to be a Dolphin fan. Let's go!
What is good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason. We're back here for another one. Smash that like button as you come through. I appreciate you all coming through on this Monday. And really, it's basically a fallout show. All the fallout from the week one of the preseason tie between the Bears and the Dolphins. It's really begun. So, ton of stuff to discuss here. Listen, it's wild. You know, the fact of the matter is that they need a running back right now. If you didn't hear, Tony Pauline today, he basically let everyone know what time it was, and he basically said that Breece Hall is in fact on the trade block. Imagine a backfield with Breece Hall and Devon Achane. Wouldn't that be absolutely, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but you know, one can ponder a few things, but yeah, they want to go with Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis. So I don't know. It feels like Aaron Glenn and they want to move on with Breece Hall. I mean, I wonder what his value is going to be. And wouldn't it just be so Dolphins when we need corner help to go out and trade for a running back? Wouldn't that, like, let's be honest with ourselves. Wouldn't that be absolutely hilarious? Wouldn't that just be so Dolphins? I wouldn't complain. But man, because we all remember those games, a few of those games he had against us. He was one of those guys who always got off the bus against the Dolphins. Loved him in college since he was at Iowa State. So, yeah, that would be absolutely hilarious if it ends up that it's just so Dolphins. Why wouldn't we go try and trade for a running back right now? You know, like, let's just add another weapon, guys. Oh, my Lord. Listen, I do want to talk about a few things, though. Just a couple more things that I didn't really cover yesterday in the post. I gave a lot of my takeaways on the post-game show yesterday, but I do have a couple other things I want to add. First of all, I want to start with the All-22. I checked around 2 o'clock. It wasn't out yet on NFL Pro or on NFL Plus. So I've only watched a replay and a condensed replay. That left side is going to be mean. Listen, Jonas Savaiinaea, I think he showed a really strong anchor. He needs some improvement in the run game, but again, let's give this grace. He's not on his natural side here. All right, this man's learning to do everything now with the opposite side of his body. He's retrained. So let's give him a little grace. He's going to get there. But you see the potential. And this is why I tweeted out yesterday, Why are we running behind Larry Borum on the right? And I saw some people defending Larry Borum and saying he was solid. Sorry, guys, I just don't see it. Keon Smith, I mean, we know he whiffed on the first strip sack of Quinn Ewers, but again, I went on a rant yesterday. He's just not that dude. I mean, I don't know how many times we got to have this conversation about the depth. I mean, I know there were some hiccups, but again, like Andrew Meyer last year, when I was telling everyone, or go back, you can look at my video at the end of August last year. I dropped a video saying Liam Eichenberg and Robert Jones are not viable starters, and I even predicted that Andrew Meyer would be the better of the three of them. And I mean, we were hearing great things through training camp. You can go watch the film from last preseason. You could see the vision with Andrew Meyer. I got more faith in Addison West and Josh Preby turning into something right now than I do Keon Smith turning into something. Let's be real. At least they're a little bit of an unknown we could live off right now. I mean, that unknown kind of went out the window with Quinn Ewers yesterday a little bit. But again, first, you know, I say that jokingly because I'm not being too hard on Quinn Ewers. It was his first game. I mean, why do you think he airmailed that throw to Theo Weiss? You could see the nerves. You could see everything was moving at a faster pace than he expected. So this is why I said, hey, man, you know, next week against Detroit, go give Quinn the first half. You know, I'm down for you want to and give Zach Wilson the second half, and then game 3, right? Final game against the Jags. You want to go give Tua a drive or two, knock yourself out, then give the rest of the game to Quinn. I'm telling you, throw him to the Wolves. This is your chance to throw him to the Wolves right now. This is what you got to do. We know what Zach Wilson is. I don't know how many times we got to say this. I felt like a broken record yesterday because I kept saying it over and over again, and I've been saying it since we signed the guy. I told each, and I hate to be, I know some people, oh, reason yours, I told you so. Well, you know what? You try being right more, and then you could tell people that. I don't know what to say to you. But when you come over here, you know the accuracy rate is through the roof over here. From player evaluations to projections, etc., etc. I told all of you. Because I was the first one to float this theory. Sean Payton told us who Zach Wilson was. When he gave Jarrett Stidham all that money, who doesn't have the arm, doesn't have the legs, doesn't have the physical tools, Jarrett Stidham does. Jarrett Stidham doesn't have the tools that Zach Wilson does. And they said, yep, see ya. Sean Payton says, no, go make Jarrett Stidham one of the highest paid backups in football again. You know why? Because Jarrett Stidham got it up here. 90% of that position is cerebral. That other 10%, you got to make something happen with your arm or your legs. Or both. And that's where we're at. I don't know what else to say. Zach Wilson is who we thought he was. It didn't take... We know it. We saw it. I will say this, and I will give Quinn this. And I said this yesterday. I'll say it again. Listen. He looked more decisive. He looked like he was processing things a little bit more. And he did make some good throws. Just the coverage was better. That's the reality of the situation. But was I expecting, go back to where I had Quinn on my quarterback rankings? Was he Shedeur at 3 for me? Was he Cam at 1? Or was he my boy Jaxson Dart at 2 who... Man, I don't know. Listen, I don't know if you guys have seen some of the breakdowns from Chase Daniel, former NFL quarterback, on Jaxson Dart on X today. But, man, because I haven't had a chance to go back and watch the Giants game because I'll watch it this week. But some of the things, I mean, Jaxson Dart was out here calling audibles and completing passes, baby. I tried to tell everyone... And all these Jaxson Dart haters, because they're just, Ole Miss, I kept saying, like, the narratives around us are so dumb around Jaxson Dart. Like, he's getting NFL level coaching. Sure, they're simplifying things, but do you think they would have him running their offense and investing in him that much if he didn't show a semblance above here? And what did I tell everyone? Another thing, there was a parallel with Tua. Running a lot of that RPO. What is that? You got to make your reads quick. You got to know pre-snap. And that's what I was telling people. Pre-snap processing and reading defenses, Jackson's there. He's got to get better at the post-snap stuff. But you could see the pre-snap. And what's that done for Tua? And that's Too early on. I mean, we all remember what Patrick Mahomes famously said. He couldn't properly process and read defenses till almost year 2, end of year 2. He said for the first year and a half, he was just out there basically playing pickup football, man. Playground ball. That's what he was doing. This is from his own, well, not that part, but the part about him saying he wasn't reading defenses properly till the end of the second year. That's when it started clicking. I mean, this is an advantage young guys have. And that, you got to read the linebackers, you got to read the safety, you start, so it becomes easier. So I'm telling you, man, I think they got Jaxson Dart going to be starting by week 6 or week 8. Let's go, baby. And that guy's got the tools, baby. Yeah. Shout out to Bar there and there, and shout out to Ghost because he said the Dart Hive is buzzing and bzzz. All right. Love that kid, man. That kid, man, I wanted him or Nussmeier. Nussmeier went back. So we'll see how this season plays out. And that's another thing you got to play Twin Ewers for. You got to figure out what you got here. I'm knocking on wood. You can hear it. If Tua goes down, and I don't want him to go down because I want to watch meaningful football, so I'm still knocking on wood. If Tua goes down, you already know where I stand. Garrett Nussmeier, Lenore Sellers, baby. Let's roll. Let it ride. Let it ride. Now, I know there's going to be, I already see y'all coming. I know there's going to be Kate Klubnik fans. I know they're going to be out there. I know the Hurricane fans are going to prop up Carson Beck, so I'm fully expecting that. Don't worry, guys. I like John Mateer as well. I if you had to go with third guy for me, I'm really high on John Mateer. I think he's going to have a good year. This is going to be a very good class. I mean, this is going to be a good class. So, and then the year after, I don't know if people saw that. I mean, I was in Bahamas, but it basically got confirmed as I'd been trying to tell all these people who were saying March for Arch. Arch Manning isn't coming out till 2027. Right? And yes, I'm a fan of Mendoza too. This is a good class, man. I mean, this is a good class. But here's the thing. Let me ask you a question. This is why you need to figure things out this year, because this is what I'm telling you guys. This is why I would be okay with a teardown. And this is the only reason why. But keep certain pieces, right? So keep pieces on your offensive line. I'd keep certain, but I'd be, okay, go draft your rookie quarterback and you got to find somehow. 2027 to me, Arch Manning is not the target. I'm sorry. In 2027, he is not the target. And I'm going to be real with you right now. I want to get my quarterback this year if we got to go that route. And then I want to go get Jeremiah Smith. And I want Jeremiah Smith and Jalen Waddle to be our 1-2 punch. And you draft Jeremiah Smith. That's the move, man. That is the big brain move. That's why I would want to go find my quarterback this year if we have to go that route. Now, I'm hoping we don't have to go that route because I want to watch meaningful football. I don't want to be sitting here in January not live with you guys on Sundays because we can't get it done. So this is where I'm at. I want Garrett Nussmeier, Lenore Sellers. Those are going to be the trains that I'm going to be pushing if we have to go that route. Last year was Dart and Nuss. And obviously, I mean, they are locked into Tua next year too, right? So, but, I know people are Neil's going to be pushing Drew Aller, but you got John Mateer, Sam Leavitt. I mean, it's a good class. It's a good class. What if Connor Wigman turns it on? You know what I mean? So, this is a stat class where if we got to go that route, this is your year. You want to figure it out. Because then in 2027, I'm all in on Jeremiah Smith. That's who we need. And if Tua balls out this year, and we win a playoff game, trade back in the first round and add more ammo so we can go get Jeremiah Smith next year. Because Jeremiah Smith, that's the dude I want to replace. I know it's a pipe dream, but that's the dude. And I think, what's his face is eligible that year too. The Alabama receiver, Ryan Williams? I think he's eligible that year too. Let me just check his eligibility. I think he'd be eligible that year too. Yeah, I think Ryan Williams would be eligible that year too. And he looks special. But Jeremiah Smith, the best. I mean, this guy's going to be better than. I mean, we're talking potential better than prime Calvin Ridley type of levels here. So, man. But 2026 is when you got to get your quarterback if you're going to get it. And I want Lenoris or Nussmeier. I'd be down for John Mateer, Sam Leavitt. I mean, the season's still got to play out. So, anyways, that's why you got to sink or swim. You got to figure out what you got with Quinn in the preseason. Give him the reps. Let's go. Give him the reps. And no, I see people in the chat 8 and 9. I don't want 8 and 9. But how many years have we had 8 and 9 recently? You know, we forget. 2022, we came away from that season saying what, ladies and gentlemen? If Tua stays healthy, you know it, I know it. We beat the Bills. You all know this. This curse is off our back 2 years ago if Tua stays healthy. Let's be real with ourselves right now. We should have swept the Bills that year. If it wasn't for Tyreek and Trent Sherfield dropping those footballs and Josh Boyer in that defense, letting them convert a 3rd and 17 and then scoring a touchdown before the half. Let's be real here. We would have swept them that season because we beat them in Miami. Even though Tua was rattled, we still beat them. We would have beat them if players like Tua, hey, it's happened twice now since McDaniel's been here. Let's be real. And they've only played in Buffalo 3 times, well, not including the playoffs, but 3 regular season games. Let's be real here. In 3 regular season games in Buffalo in 2022, Tua was one of the best players on the field. I just gave you literal examples of his team letting him down. And then flashback to last year, week 9, right? EPA per play puts up a top 9 EPA per play through 9 weeks. But he was the only one of those top 9 quarterbacks to lose that week. Why? Defense has one of its worst EPA per play allowed ever against the Sean McDermott-led offense in his tenure. Our special teams puts up, either the worst or second worst EPA per play ever. Again, everyone around him lets him down. Our defense couldn't get a stop for 45 freaking minutes. Come on, man. That's the reality of the situation. I know we can do it. Are they just going to all get off the plane? This goes back to when Flores was here. You remember Tua's rookie year, basically win and get in against the playoffs? The game where Matt Barkley lit us up in the second half? Who remembers that game? Andrew Van Ginkel was one of the few guys who got off the bus that day. No one gets off the bus. And then when a superstar does get off the bus, no one else, the coach his brain might be still on the bus. Other players don't get off the bus. It's ridiculous. But that's the thing. We can't get all, everyone wants to talk about soft or whatever. Spit whatever narrative you want. We all watch these games. We're all hardcore fans sitting here talking about the Miami Dolphins on August 11th, all right? Let's be real with each other. Big games, we don't get all 3 phases to show up. This is why we're all so relieved that Greg Ackerman is calling this the special teams now. And I know Jake Bailey had a 56-yard punt compared to Stonehouse's 50-yard punt. But again, let's be real here. How many? Okay, he's going to give us a 56-yarder and then a 26-yarder follows that up on the next. Let's not remember we've seen that one before too. Man, a healthy Tua guarantees us at minimum we finish 10-6. Again, let's be real here. A healthy Tua, we finish 10-6 minimum. Now, if they can show up in December, that could push that to 12-4, but are they going to show up? I don't know. You know as much as I know right now. I'll know a little bit more when I go down and see them in person August 19th, 20th, and 21st. I'll know a lot more. So that's and DC Monroe nails it. Like, let's again keeping it real. That's the key. You need, and that's what's so frustrating, DC. That was right in your possession heading into that Ravens game. You were fighting for first place in the AFC. And what does it come back down to? That Texans loss. And what happened? All three phases didn't show up. I don't care what anyone tries to tell me. Well, the offense should have got a first down. Brother, go look at the lead for under 3 minutes left. You're telling, like, go watch the plays. Go watch. You'll see Xavier Howard playing the ball instead of, you know, being a little conservative with a lead. And it ends up costing us. I mean, Will Levis, we're the only team he ended up looking like a superstar against. Like, let's be real here. So, I mean, you would have won that game. It's a totally different ball game now. It's crazy. It's the life we live as Dolphin fans. So, we'll see. I mean, no one's calling for, well, there obviously is a select few, but I'm not calling for anyone right now. You know, I'm not calling for a quarterback right now, but I'm telling you, if Tua goes down, the train is starting again. Last year was Nussmeier and Dart. I'm hooking it to Nussmeier again. That's my guy. And, of course, Lenoris. You know? So, and then there's other guys I like. It's just a good quarterback class. How long are we going to keep playing this game for? You gotta take a serious swing. And does anyone want to pay Zach Wilson another $6 million to be here based off what you've seen in one preseason game and what we've seen in his film through his NFL career? No, thank you. That's a pass. And I see, like, that's some of the narratives people are trying to spin. Well, he led scoring drives. Listen, my Lord. Are we just going to leave out context and make idiotic declarations right now? Are we really counting scoring drives? Give me a break, okay? And shout out to Tajay Washington. This, this wide receiver battle, this is going to be next level. I can't wait to see what happens, how this all pans out. This is going to be interesting. Now, for expectations, I haven't really talked about it. My expectations for this season, well, I mean, you'll get my record prediction when we do our preseason panel. I don't know. I don't really. I mean, I know what the expectation is where if you do not reach this, bye-bye. I know what that should be. That should be playoff win. As a collective, and I'm talking about, like, you know, Greer and McDaniel. As a collective, if you don't bring us a playoff win, you know. Now, in the same sense, we're kind of doing the same things over again, right? Like, we're bringing in guys with injury histories and they're getting injured. It's been happening for years, and it's just this cycle that keeps happening. You know, we expect all of a sudden they're going to play 1,000 snaps. When they haven't played it in years, they're gonna play it for us, and somehow that Miami sun is just gonna radiate and give them so much vitamin D that they're just gonna turn into the Hulk and be unbreakable, and that just doesn't happen. So, you know, that goes for free agents and rostered players that we've drafted, because there's a ton. Paging Austin Jackson, paging Jalen Phillips, paging Tua Tagovailoa. You know what it is. Austin Jackson. Imagine being on the hook for $16 million next year for that. Oh, wait. So, I don't know. And let's start off with some injury news. Speaking of, what a terrible segue, but it is what it is. This is where we're at in life. Alexander Mattison. We went from Mike McDaniel telling us yesterday it's just some soreness in the neck, in the head, to not quite, not quite. Alexander Mattison has a neck injury that requires surgery per sources. He is expected to make a full recovery, but he will be out for the 2025 season. Has full strength and motion. 7-year vet was having a quality camp in life. I mean, that is a brutal break. I liked what I saw yesterday. He was obviously providing that much needed downhill thud that backfield was lacking a little bit. Again, I'm going to wait for the all-22 to see how much was on the line and how much was on the actual backs. But, that's just tough. And what's even tougher, and just sticking with this for a second, and this is a guy who we've referenced before on this channel, Dr. Jesse Morris says it's likely an acute fracture, severely herniated disc. Says, wish him best of luck. Hopefully no long-term issues, complications. There's a chance this is career-ending for Alexander Mattison. The fact that it's like, I don't know. The fact that it's crazy that how quickly on that football field your life can change. I mean, this is why I talk about why I get why, I get why NFL players want fully guaranteed contracts. I've already said this. I think football players, and I mean, then before I say this, I understand how the market works and it's impossible, but I'm just saying, I think football players and NHL players, based on the contact sport and the quality years of life taken off their bodies, I think they should be the highest paid. But again, it's based off markets, and I get it, all that. But and it's brutal when you look at it, right? Like it's a brutal. I don't know. Like, I'm just praying he's okay. I saw that screenshot today, and I was like, oh boy, I definitely didn't still shot it. It looks like a brutal injury, and just praying, we got to put our prayers up for Alexander Mattison. That's a tough, and we're praying it's not a career ending or even threatening injury. And, he can make that choice whenever he wants to step away and not be forced medically to step away, because you don't want to see any player's career that they've worked so hard since little kids to attain the status and, the ability they have and where they're at in life. They've worked since kids to attain that, and to have that taken away when it isn't their choice, you don't want to wish that upon anyone. So, just except OJ Simpson maybe, but you just, Alexander Mattison, we are praying for a speedy recovery, and then you can get back to normal. That's absolutely terrible. So I don't know. It's awful. So, now, before that news broke, in terms of severity, and I mean, listen, if you're going to come up here and ever in my chat and say, I don't believe a thing Mike McDaniel says in a press conference now, what can I say? Thank you providing the clip, Mike. Oh my God. You know what I mean? Like, listen, you got to, that's a, no comment. We're awaiting further evaluation. Not, oh, it's just some neck and head soreness. And like, come on, brother. Like, that's oh man, that's terrible. So prayers up for Alexander Mattison. But I mean, come on, Mike. You've now, I there's not a thing I can say to someone who says you aren't telling the truth. I hate to be that guy. Now, but before that news broke, and what made us wonder, and actually tweeted out and had to edit the tweet, I was like, I wonder if this speaks to the severity of Mattison's injury, because that room is thin. We saw they've only got 4 backs. That one goes down. It's thin. Now you're down to 3. So news broke today that they were working out free agent running back Jamaal Williams. Now, you'll remember Jamaal Williams. He broke Barry Sanders' team record at the Detroit Lions when he had 17 rushing touchdowns a couple years ago. Since then, his yards after contact has gone down, but you can still see he's used in a lot of short yardage situations. They apparently passed on him. Apparently, he just wasn't good enough. So I think a lot of us were expecting Jamaal Williams was going to be the option and the route the Miami Dolphins went, but that isn't the route they went. Instead, it broke a few hours later that the Miami Dolphins are signing Aaron Shampklin per his agents Henry Organ and Alex Begliger. Shampklin appeared in 3 games with the Steelers last year, and he had recently worked out for the Bears and the Jets. He worked out for Miami today, and he landed a deal. Yeah. Not great. Not great by any stretch of the imagination. This guy, he's bounced around teams in terms of practice squads. And in 2023, I believe, he was, because he was cut. I mean, we're talking about a substitute middle teacher. We can literally call this guy the substitute. Now, here is the interesting thing. You do look at his athletic profile. He did have an 8.22 RAS when he was coming out. He had 4.4 speed coming out in that 2022 draft. So we're in a 4.48. Thing is, he's 5'9", like 195 pounds. And he doesn't bench very much. He's not. I don't even think he's been used in a short yardage situation in the time he got with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Didn't even get 1 short yardage carry. But hey, he's got a 37.5-inch vertical. Oh my God. Which is that's what's crazy, because there were options out there for them. And I don't get why they just, I don't know. I don't get why they didn't look at more of a thudding back. There were legitimate options out there for them. Oh, the All-22 is out now. Beautiful. But I don't know. I'd rather see what Gus Edwards, Zach Moss, or Dante Foreman have right now than Shampklin. Go get me Gus Edwards. Somehow he could always get short yardage situations converted in Baltimore. Adding Aaron Shampklin. You added a body. Hey, now on the flip side of this, let's be real here. More chances for OG31 and Jalen Wright. So, because this guy ain't displacing either one of those guys. And they're pretty much locks anyways to make the roster. But Alexander Mattison was making it interesting. What if they're only rostering 3 running backs because they want to carry 6 wide receivers? No way they carry 7. That would be crazy. Theo Weiss making the team think carry 7. But what if they only carry 3 because they're just going to, that he goes down, that opens up a roster spot. Okay, let's just keep an extra receiver because we like what we're seeing right now. But day one has it. Day one, it nailed it. Hopefully saving money for a cornerback. Let's go. And it's going to be up to OG31 and Jalen Wright to get the short yardage. So, I don't know. We'll see. You know what's crazy too? Because it says running back could be a special teams guy. You see how many special team snaps Grayson Murphy got? Speaking of, this staff I think likes Grayson Murphy. There's some work that needs to be done because he definitely had some reps he'd want back when you go back and watch the film. And I'm gonna even dive further tonight with the All-22, but I get it. It comes down to the length of his arms, basically. That's going to be his biggest issue, probably. But Ollie, man. More chances for Ollie, more chances for Jalen. We already know what Achane is, and I had a conversation with a friend today. Let me know in the chat. What do you think Achane is? Is he a running back? Or is he a weapon? Is he is that what you would like? Because that's what I label him. I don't label him a running back or a receiver. To me, he's a weapon. And I think Gadget doesn't do him justice. So I think he's a legitimate weapon. When you talk about, I know some people hated this comparison, and I'm going to make it again because I truly believe it. He reminds me of, I think he's more explosive, and people are going to say, you're crazy, Reason. I think he's a more explosive Reggie Bush. That's what I think he is. And listen, I loved Reggie Bush here. I think a lot of people forget how good he was for us. I think Reggie, probably the best 3 running backs I've seen since Achane in Dolphins colors. And yes, I know I'm not forgetting Ajay. We're probably obviously Ricky, my boy Ronnie Brown, and then I put Reggie, and now I put Achane at 4. But I see a more explosive Reggie Bush. That's what I see. So, we already know what he is, but yeah, he's a weapon. I'm going to tell you this right now. With Devon Achane, in a perfect world, you're giving him 10 to 12 carries, but you're giving him 6 to 8 targets as well, right? So you're still getting him the ball around 20 times a game, right? And then you want to still run around 24 to 28 times at minimum. So now you can split the rest of that out between OG31 and Jalen Wright. So in college, they called them athletes. I like that. Lamar Smith. No, these guys are better than Lamar Smith, bro. Let's be real. Come on. If we're in a draft right now, and let's go prime. I'll give you prime all these pairs. Who are you taking? Ricky, Ronnie. You're taking all those guys. Ricky, Ronnie, Reggie, and Achane. You're taking them all over Lamar Smith. Come on, brother. But I agree with Manny. Jalen Wright needs to step up. This is his chance. This is his chance. So I'm going to be especially looking at his carries tonight too. So this is his chance. So this is Jalen Wright's chance to lock in that RB3 spot. Look at Chris. He says Achane is somewhere between Reggie Bush and Marshall Faulk. I love Marshall. That guy was, even when he was in the later years with the Rams, how good was he, eh? That guy was just awesome. Unbelievable. But that's what the Miami Dolphins, let's be honest here. None of that's getting displaced. All right? I mean, let's be real here. None of that is getting displaced in terms of the running back 2, running back 3. Now, I want to know, did OG, and be honest, chat, to you, did OG31, did Ollie Gordon, did he make that running back 2 battle with Jalen Wright interesting now that it's him and Jalen Wright only? No longer as Alexander Mattison standing in either of their way? Let me know in the chat. Because remember, Jalen Wright had that bruising touchdown run too. Let's be real here. Remember, he had that bruising run. Let me know in the chat. Did OG3 make this, OG31, did he make this a battle? Diebar says, yup. Ollie Gordon looked good. Need to see more, I agree. For sure. Shout out to the chat right now. Steve, shout out to Knight. He went ahead and donated an Phinside The NFL membership. And then good old Birdman, been around for a minute. He came through and he donated 5. Thank you for building the Phinside fam. I appreciate y'all. Quick Death takes a stance. It's not for me. OG got a lot of time against the third stringers. I liked what I saw. But I also think, let's remember here. There were definitely snaps we can remember where the offensive line, especially on that red zone, that red zone rushing, debacle that we saw there, especially on that fourth down. The offensive line did that run game zero favors on some of those. So we're going to see what OG31. I mean, these are like, let's go. See, I wouldn't even be starting the starters against Detroit. I said this yesterday on yesterday's show. Let's get backups out there, and then at home, you want to give the starters a drive or two. It's at home against the Jags. They're in their own building. Comfort level's there. It's the closest game to the start of the season. Play that game, right? This is where sink or swim, Quinn, Jalen, and OG. Let me take the leashes off. It's you boys. Like, this is where we go. So we'll see how it goes. But Aaron Shampklin, I do not expect anything. Hey, and maybe I end up being wrong. I don't think I'll be wrong, but maybe I end up being wrong. All right, so let's get into the PFF grades, because the PFF grades actually came out, and there are some interesting things for sure when you look at them. So let's get into these. It's been a while since we've looked at PFF grades. So offensively, Tajay Washington scored a 90. Patrick Paul, who I would agree was our best offensive lineman, he number 2 at an 84.7. Braden Daniels, who when you went back and watched the film, man, he actually did have a good game. So I actually agree with those grades. Number 4, and I would probably, yeah. Number 4, Tua Tagovailoa. Number 4 with him is Nick Westbrook Akine. Devon Achane was a 6. Addison West, there he is, number 7. Number 8 was Malik Washington. Number 9 was Alexander Mattison. Daniel Brunskill was at 11. Aaron Brewer at a 12. AJ Henning. And the staff is apparently high on him, right? At the bottom, though, Keon Smith, Jermaine Afidi. Look at Keon Smith put up a 19.8. Jermaine Afidi, 27.8. Zach Wilson, 33.6. Quinn Ewers had a higher grade than Zach Wilson, but they were still both terrible. Jalen McKenzie, he had 23 snaps. He had a 37. Farrell Brown, who was out there whiffing for sure. Jonas Savaianaya, I think that's way too hard on him. Now, I do think in the run game, you saw some issues, but again, you got to understand, this kid's learning to do everything with the left side of his body now, so you got to give some grace there. This is why I said I would have had James Daniels at left guard, and I would have had Jonah at right guard, because that's just where he's suited, but c'est la vie. Larry Borum, 48 point, he was not good. I think I would put him below Jonah. At least we got up the field. Josh Preby, not great. Julian Hill, not as usual. Ollie Gordon, they were light on Ollie. They only gave him a 62.4. They gave him a 9.4 in pass blocking. I got to go back and watch the film again. The All-22 I've seen, it's out now, so I will be watching that tonight. Maybe go over some clips tomorrow with you guys. We'll see what's up. And yeah, so there are your offensive PFF grades. This is going to be interesting. Let's look at the passing. Let's look at the pressure and depth. So Quinn Ewers, all of his completions came at the middle of the field. 5 for 12 in the middle of the field. 0 for 2 to the left. 0 for 2 to the right. He was actually kept clean 70% of the time, right? 14 of his dropbacks, he was 5 for 4. Under pressure, he was 0 for 4. And that's where all the fumbles came, his turnover-worthy plays, right? So, but they did charge 2 drops. I wonder who they charged those drops to. Let me see. Who they charged those drops to. Alexander Mattison and Ollie Gordon. So there you go. So there's Quinn. Not great. Let's go to Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson, not great. Not great at all. Now, again, under pressure, he's 1 for 3. When he's kept clean, he was 4 for 6. And you see, again, 2 completions over the middle, 2 to the left. Now, no drops on any of his targets. But, I mean, like, look at his grading out when he's under pressure. Time to throw when he was kept clean was about 2 seconds. It was about 3.57 seconds when he was extending the play. What was Quinn's time to throw? I actually didn't check that. Quinn's time to throw when he was kept clean, 2.31. So, but, I mean, a lot of that pressure was created, obviously, by Zach Wilson himself, too. Tua Tagovailoa, when he was kept clean, he was 5 of 6. He actually wasn't under pressure at all. And no drops. So, there you go. Now, blocking. Keon Smith was charged with allowing 2 sacks and 7 pressures. Jermaine Ifedi allowed 4 pressures. He was charged with allowing a hit and a sack. Jonah Savaianaya was charged with allowing a sack and 1 hurry. He allowed 2 pressures. Jalen McKenzie allowed 2 pressures as well. I actually thought his pass blocking was better than his run blocking. I gotta watch the film again tonight. But yeah. Otherwise, decent, but I mean, still 15 pressures between 4 players. Keon Smith, Jermaine Ifedi, and add Larry Borum to the list. Guy's awful. Defensively, Zach Sealer, usual dominant self, Jordan Brooks, and Isaiah Wynn were your top 3 graded defenders. Ethan Bonner came in at 4, Jordan Phillips at 5, Storm Duck at 6, Kenneth Grant came in at 7, KJ Britt at 8, Benito Jones at 9, and Ben Stilley at 10, all above 70. Daquan Jackson right there at 11. Tyrell Dotson came in at a 65. Grayson Murphy. Matt Dickerson I thought was better than a bunch of these guys. Matt Dickerson was good, man, I thought yesterday. But yeah, like I told y'all, Daquan Jackson was really good yesterday too. But yeah, Isaiah Johnson, Ethan Bonner holding it down. Zeke Biggers I thought was good. He's graded like mid. Willie Gay I thought was good. And he's graded mid again. Your worst graded defenders, Ethan Robinson. I would agree with that. He had a tough one. He was missing tackles. It was a tough one for Ethan Robinson, I thought. Channing Tindall, I agree. Yeah, it was a tough one for him too. 110%. Cornell Armstrong, that's not good. Alex Huntley and John Sanders round out your bottom 5, but then there's Mike Hilton as the 6th worth as well. That's not great. So I thought Matthew Butler, he had a couple whiffs. I didn't think he was that good. Kendall Sheffield got ran through, and they had him middle of the pack. I thought Derek McClendon was better than, like, they gave him a 60. I thought Derek McClendon was really good yesterday. Even when I went back and watched the broadcast, he still looked like one of the better defenders out there. I don't know what that grade is. I don't agree with that at all. What sunk it? I don't agree with that at all, but okay. He was one of the better defenders out there. That's what I thought. Now, when you look at coverage, it's your coverage matchups. So, Channing Tindall in coverage, targeted 5 times, allowed 4 receptions, and he allowed 58 yards. Brutal. 2 first downs. KJ Britt targeted 4 times, allowed 2 receptions, only 14 yards. John Sanders targeted 4 times, allowed 3 receptions and a first down. But there's also that Jade Walker drop against him. Storm Duck targeted 3 times, allowed 3 receptions for a total of 12 yards. Ethan Robinson was targeted twice, allowed 1 reception for 4 yards, but it was a touchdown. Cornell Armstrong targeted twice, allowed 2 receptions for 22 yards and a first down. Melifanu was targeted twice, allowed 1 reception for 5 yards. Also, Durham Smythe had that drop early on against him. Isaiah Johnson, they charged him with a pass breakup. The throw was short. He didn't really have to do much on it, but he was targeted twice, allowed 1 reception for only 1 yard. but he allowed some after the catch, right? B.J. Adams targeted twice, allowed 1 reception, which was a touchdown. There was also that pass breakup he had. Jason Marshall, I mean, they counted one of those as a drop. I don't know which one they're counting as a drop, but he had that good, forced that incompletion on one of them. Eugene Asante, he was targeted once, allowed 1 reception for 7 yards. Daquan Jackson, he allowed 1 reception on 1 target for 7 yards as well. Willie Gay allowed 1 reception for 17 yards to Devin Duvernay. Patrick McMorris allowed 1 reception. He also had that interception that was tipped up, right? That Ethan Bonner tipped up. But the one that Patrick Morris did allow was the touchdown in the back of the end zone. Maurice Alexander toe tapped. Jordan Colbert allowed 1 reception for 6 yards. Tyrell Dodson allowed a reception for 8 yards. Mike Hilton allowed a reception for 16 yards and a first down to Luther Burden. Colston Loveland was targeted once against Jordan Brooks and went nowhere. Jack Jones allowed 1 reception for 5 yards. He also had an interception that was called back because he was flagged for DPI. Ethan Bonner, he broke up the pass to Torrey, and that McMorris picked off. So there are your PFF grades, stats, and info. Continuing on here. Was the Athletic justified or downright disrespectful with Tua Tagovailoa? This is behind a paywall, but I've got it for you guys right here. So this is the quarterback results are in for 2025 with 50 NFL coaches and executives. They tier all the quarterbacks in the NFL. So there you go. We're going to get into how this works. This is how it went overall. There was, Tua Tagovailoa. I mean, he fell 2 spots this year. Obviously, injuries are going to do that, right? Justin Herbert fell 2 spots. Purdy, Tua, Trevor Lawrence. I don't know how Trevor Lawrence ain't fallen farther. Dak fell 3 spots, So Anthony Richardson, Kirk Cousins spent 12, but Sam Darnold went up 9 spots. So here we go. Tier 1, they have Patrick McMorris as the best quarterback, Joe Burrow, and Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, then Matthew Stafford. Okay, now I want to talk about this for a second. I do want to talk about this for a second. Let me talk about this. I see everyone's hating on Joe Burrow. Everyone's like, how's Joe Burrow? Are y'all kidding me right now? Did y'all watch Joe Burrow last year? That guy should have been in the MVP discussion. If it wasn't for Joe Burrow, the Cincinnati Bengals would have been picking number 1 overall. The Cincinnati Bengals wasted a MVP caliber season with Joe Burrow last year. So I actually, y'all know I'm a Joe Burrow fan. I've been a Joe Burrow fan. I wanted him. I wanted Tua, him, or Love. That's the order I wanted those guys. Because I didn't think we were getting Burrow. We didn't have a chance. But everyone, we were on the Tuesday night panel. Who do you want to name? EM, TD, Ball Game, any of those people you want to name. I put them all on to Joe Burrow, okay? Joe Burrow was next to Tua was my guy in that draft along with Jordan Love. I loved those 3 guys. I'm a fan of Joe Burrow. That's justified. That kid, did no one see how good he was last year? Come on. I'm sorry, man. Joe Burrow is you give Joe Burrow Sean McDermott's defense with Sean McDermott as the defensive coordinator, they're winning a Super Bowl. I'm sorry, man. So I might be a little biased because I'm big on Burrow, but listen, I would also, hey, if someone puts Josh Allen at number 2, knock yourself out. I would take all 3 of those before Lamar. Did Lamar get better as a passer last year? Yeah, 110%. But I would take all 3 of those guys before Lamar. I think Joe Burrow's in the running they have him tied with Patrick Mahomes. I think that's fair. He's tied in terms of votes. So I see people hating on that. I don't know. Now, Jaden Daniels would be 5 for me. He'd be the bottom of and I'd call me crazy. He'd be the bottom of tier 5. He'd be 5th spot. Flip him and Stafford for me. Justin Herbert would not be 7 for me, but we're not going to go into that conversation. Jared Goff, he belongs in the top 10. CJ Stroud, he had a struggle last year. Jalen Hurts, They're all. I don't think Jalen Hurts is better than any of these guys. Baker Mayfield at 11. I mean, I think Baker Mayfield's a top 12 guy. I've said this. Dak Prescott, Jordan Love. I think he's getting too much love. He's still being overrated. Brock Purdy should be higher. Kyler Murray should be lower. Aaron Rodgers should be way lower, and Tua should be higher. I think Tua should be at the bottom of tier 2 right now, coming off that injury. That's my thoughts. Dak Prescott should be in tier 3. Jordan Love should be in tier 3. Jalen Hurts should be at the bottom of tier 2. I would put CJ Stroud at the bottom of tier 2 as well. I would put Justin Herbert below Jared Goff, Baker, Purdy, and you could make the argument him and Tua are neck and neck. If you're going to go traits, you go Herbert. If you're going to go the passer, you're going to go Tua. So I think Tua and Herbert are probably neck and neck right now, but I think they're below Goff. I think they're below Baker, and I think they're below Purdy. So, but anyways, Tua Tagovailoa, they ranked him 17th. And this is what they said. All right. The Dolphins offense averaged 24.1 points per game in 11 games with Tua Tagovailoa in 2024 compared to 13.3 in 6 games without him. Quote, they literally cannot operate the offense when he is not out there, and they are top 10 offense when he is out there, an offensive coach said. Look, quote, I don't even like watching him play, but at this point, dude, I can't say you are not that guy. So that's someone, an offensive coach who doesn't even like watching Tua, and he's basically saying, I can't say you are not that guy because they're top 10 offense when you're out there. The voter was among a dozen placing Tagovailoa in tier 2, half as many in 2024. So there were 2 dozen in 2020 last year when they did this, coming off that 2023 year. There were 2 dozen that placed him in tier 2. This year, there was only a dozen that placed him in tier 2 when they went over the 50 NFL coaches and scouts. Quote, he's probably a 2 on the production, but if the game is on the line, I'd be scared to death if you were my quarterback, an exec said. Another voter called Tagovailoa, quote, damn near the most accurate quarterback in the NFL. Quote, it is the off-script plays that he doesn't have, a defensive coach said. And if it is not paired with the run game to draw the under coverage, then you don't get full utilization of his accuracy on the second and third level. The result is a quarterback who can look really good or really bad depending on the situation. Quote, he does a really good job of hitting these play action windows and putting it on guys where it's catch and run and has good anticipation for it and it can get out of his hands, another defensive coach said. I've yet to see him carry his team when they are not clicking in the other phases. Has Miami ever won a game where the run game is getting killed that can't hit play actions when they can't hit the play action stuff and it's just time for Tua to sling the ball? I mean, you can make that argument. And that final point is, hey, and I've talked about this. The reason why now I think he's getting better at it. You know what I mean? Like, you go back to that. We were talking about the Bills losses. There's only so much you can do, especially last year. I mean, what are you going to do when your defense isn't going to stop for 45 minutes? And, I mean, he put up, what, a top 5 EPA per play from a quarterback standpoint ever against a Sean McDermott-led defense since he's been the Buffalo Bills head coach. So, I mean, he put up, like, you know, top 5 numbers against them, but it is what it is. So, but I do agree, and I've talked about this. This comes down to not getting the reps in college. Why is Josh Allen so good in crunch time? Did he ever have to take a snap off at Wyoming? Same thing with Mahomes. He was used to it playing at Texas Tech. They need these reps. Any position needs those reps. Doesn't matter what it is. I've already stated, I think Tua should be in tier 2. Him and Herbert should be neck and neck. If you want me to do like where they would be what? They would be 10 and 11. Tua and Herbert would be 10 and 11 for me. They'd be top 12. They'd be 10 and 11 for me. And you could flip them either way, basically. So, listen, but then you got an offensive coach saying, I'm telling each and every one of you, I don't even like watching him play, but at this point, dude, I can't say you are not that guy. Why? Because they literally can't operate that offense when he's not out there. So he had 36 votes for tier 3, and he had 12 in 20. He had 12 in tier 2. In 2024, he had 26 votes in tier 3 and 24 in tier 2. So it was literally neck and neck. So is what it is. I get it. Injuries, man. Injuries. If he would have built off that 2023 season, we would have seen him make that leap to tier 2 on that list. So you could sit here and say it's justified, or you could sit here and say it's respectable. Let me know in the chat. Were those rankings justified or respectable? Let me know. All right. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new. I will catch you on the next one. We got joint practice this week. We got a preseason game next week, and then I'm out to Miami for Jacksonville week. I'll be live at both training camp sessions, and then I'll be live at joint practice, and then you already know what time it is. We'll have the preseason game right back here in the studio. So until then, fins up. I'll see you all in the next one. Take it easy, everyone.